All right, hey, it's Jeremy here at Red Hawk Coaching. Hope you're having a great day, and pretty excited to be able to bring this webinar to you. And the purpose of these is it's my opportunity to give back to help small business owners just stay stimulated in a time where we might be working out of our homes. And it's also a tool that has a practical use, whether you're using it for your personal relationships or to stay connected, or you're using it for your business to stay connected. We'll talk about some of those ideas once we get to the end, but I want to talk about the product. And just want to let you know this is not going to be a long webinar, so I want you all to get back to being able to connect with those that are in your business, your prospecting, and more importantly, get back to your families. And so I'm going to share my screen here shortly. You'll notice that I've got the chat up. If you'd like to share your name and industry, just kind of let me know who is on the call today. That would be great. So one moment as I share this. All right, the website for Zoom is zoom.us, and on the screen, you might have to move me around. You'll see at the top some different choices: join a meeting, host a meeting, my account. Obviously, if you don't have an account, you can sign up for one. There's a couple different options there. You can sign up for a free account. You have limited tools, and the other thing that might be a little bit annoying is that at 40 minutes, it'll drop you and everybody on the call. The one that I would opt for if you're going to use it for your business, so you know you're going to have conversations longer than that, is the Zoom Pro. And the plans and pricing can be found here. Obviously, you can have the free, but the Pro is $14.99 a month. I personally have a coaching business, so it gives me the ability to host all my one-on-one coaching appointments and also do group coaching and webinars. Webinar is an actual addition to that. Webinar runs about $500 a year, and that's the tool that I'm using here. Just some of the features of Pro, we'll go through those. You can have up to 100 participants. If you know you're going to be talking to more people than that on a consistent basis, you can always reach out to them, and they'll work out an adjustment in the payment. Meeting duration, you can go 24 hours. I've never gone more than a couple. I've got some other friends in the business that they sometimes go 4 or 5 hours doing a webinar. User management, admin, feature controls, reporting, a custom personal meeting ID. And this is a link that stays consistent, and I use it for more of my personal relationships that if they need to connect with me, they have that link. Otherwise, I send out links, and it generates a new code every single time. So once you use it, or if you're scheduling multiple meetings, it's going to schedule a new code for each one of those meetings, and that's just to make sure that nobody else comes onto your call. Sign scheduler, they have cloud recording. There's not a lot. You can fill up 1 gig pretty quickly. So I also use YouTube, and what I'll do is I'll record locally to my computer, and then I'll upload that file into YouTube, and then I can determine if I want it public or unlisted, which means nobody can see it unless they have the link, or I can make it private. So there's a bunch of different ways to lock it down, but you have unlimited storage over on YouTube. So that's where I'll store my videos. It can interact with Skype for business, and there's, like I said, there's other add-ons. One of the first things you'll want to do is, once you get the account, is just go to your account, and you're going to start with your settings. And I'm going to go through rather quickly some of the settings that you'll want to change and set up to make it the best experience possible. And so when you click on the settings on the left-hand side, there's going to be settings for meetings, recording, and then also telephone. So if somebody doesn't have access to a computer and they can't access it on the Zoom app on their phone, they can actually dial into the meeting. All right, so host video, I have it set to where it turns on as soon as the meeting starts. I also have it set to where if there's a participant that's engaging, I'll also have their video launch or be initiated, because I like to see people. Otherwise, you're just talking to a blank screen. So it's nice to have those faces on there. Audio type, you're going to opt to allow them both telephone and computer audio. It's basically giving them the most options possible to be able to connect with you on that call. If you start picking one or the other, you're going to limit them, and maybe something goes wrong with their computer audio or whatever the case. So I just open it up to where they can connect either by telephone or computer. I allow my participants to join the meeting before the host arrives. So I didn't do that today on the webinar, but typically for like my one-on-one coaching, sometimes they'll beat me to the coaching call. Other times I'm there first. So if they get there before me, it goes ahead and launches the meeting. Down here, you can embed a password and meeting link for one-click join. So you can put passwords and other restrictions onto them joining. The challenge with that, though, is if they lose their PIN, then they're reaching out to you. I had a couple people reach out to me asking for the link today, and unfortunately I just couldn't get back to them. But the link, the more restrictions you put on there, the more difficult it is to get people to join. All right, out of all the settings, this is probably number one: mute the participants upon entry. Otherwise, sometimes I'll have 30, 40, 60, 80 people on a call. And if I brought them all in unmuted, it would just be complete chaos. Now, as an admin, I can sit there and go and mute everybody or find the ones that are being noisy and make that adjustment. So I bring everybody into the call muted. Now, if they want to engage or talk, absolutely, I encourage that. They can unmute themselves, and then when they're done, mute themselves. So we kind of talk about that. Usually I have a little bit of an expectation conversation when I'm doing large groups like that, that, hey, this is how we're going to do it. And it'll just be out of courtesy for everybody so we can hear everything that's being said. So start them out muted, have that conversation at the beginning of the Zoom experience, and then just let them know to mute and unmute. Down here, allowing chat to take place. I can't see the chat right now because I'm screen sharing. Also, private chat, auto-saving your chats. So once you have the complete file at the end, when you click on End Meeting, you'll be able to download the chat as well as the video. File transfer, you can set your chat up to where you can allow people to transfer files if you're finding that necessary. I typically never use that. Co-hosts, now these are webinars, so I'm not going to dive into these, but if you wanted to have it co-hosted, you can do that as well. You could add polling to your experience. Always show the meeting control toolbar at the bottom, and that's an important one, so people can either turn their audio on and off, turn their video on and off. In some cases, people will share their screen. So you'll want that toolbar to show up down there. Show Zoom window during screen share. So you can see me over here to the side. I can actually turn that off or turn it on. I choose to keep it on so that you can see there's actually somebody on the other side of this. Who can share? You can determine who shares and who can start sharing when someone else is sharing. And the only person here is the host. All right. Whiteboarding, remote control. Remote control is going to be a feature with the Pro to where you can actually remote into somebody's computer and be able to help them maybe through a tech issue or a question or something like that. For coaching, it's great. For most of my business owners, probably not necessary. Allowed removed participants to rejoin. The only reason I keep that on is sometimes if the bandwidth, and especially experiencing that now in my house because we've got 4 people on Zoom almost all day. We've got my kids that are taking classes from school. My wife is working from home too, and then myself. So sometimes the bandwidth may drop a little bit and somebody feels like their connection's bad and they'll drop out. I want them to be able to come back on. Some people choose to, when they kick them off, they may kick them off because they're being distracting, or they keep, they've left their computer and their dog's barking in the background. And you do have the option as the admin to remove one particular person from the meeting. The reason I keep it open is because if there's an issue, a technical issue, they're able to jump back in. Remote support is another Pro feature, virtual backgrounds. You can have people identify guest participants in the meeting webinar. This one down here, use HTML format email for Outlook plugin. So that way, if somebody's receiving it and they do have an Outlook plugin, it'll format that calendar invite differently and look a little bit more professional. All these, like the allow streaming meetings, if you want to be streaming to Facebook or Workplace or YouTube, which are all great features, you would have to have webinar. And like I said, webinar, you'd have to have Zoom Pro first and then purchase into webinar. Webinar is going to run about $500 a year. Most people aren't going to need webinar unless they're doing webinars. All right. When a cloud recording is available, notify the host. So it'll basically tell you once the video has been uploaded, if you choose that option to record to the cloud, when you can start using it. When can attendees join before the host? Yes, I allow that. When a meeting is canceled, also notify the host and participants. When somebody schedules a meeting. So some great features here. And when you go through all these settings and you get it customized to how you want it, the great thing is that every meeting you launch there afterwards, it keeps the same settings. Now, if you feel like one of those settings might not be necessary for a particular Zoom meeting, then you can go in and edit and just change that feature for that one meeting. All right. So scroll all the way back up here. So the first thing you're want to do is set up your profile. Go through, put your picture. Here's that personal meeting ID having pro. I can send that out and launch a meeting at any time. And then basically it tells you what your account has and what you can do. This one's important and it's under the profile settings, is connecting to a calendar. And I'm going to show you why this is important in a minute. So if you have a Gmail calendar or you check an Outlook and you use the Outlook calendar, you want to connect your calendars to those services. And I'll show you why, because once you get everything set up within Zoom, you don't even have to really log back into Zoom again. You can launch everything from your calendar. All right. Meetings. It's really simple. Here's all the meetings I have coming up. You can schedule a meeting. It's as simple as clicking schedule a meeting. And I'm just going to say test. You can add a description. You can add the date. You can put how long it is. Now, my experience with this is it doesn't cut off. If I put 1 hour in here, it doesn't cut off in an hour. So if you go 1 hour and 15, you're okay. I think it's mainly for the participant side that they see how much time you've allotted to that meeting. Yet I've gone over the duration before, and it hasn't dropped me or dropped them, more importantly. Time zone, make sure you pick the right time zone, or that's going to mess with everything, especially when it comes to using your calendar. You can set up reoccurring meetings. And so I've got a lot of people out here that are watching today that utilize or have team meetings, and maybe they want to take those team meetings virtual. And maybe that team meeting is every Monday at 9 a.m. You can actually set up in Zoom those reoccurring meetings so that it's just the same link that they jump onto every week at that time. So if you have those type of meetings, reoccurring is really good. I have a couple of those. For the most part, though, all mine are individual meetings. Registration required. You can set it up to where registration is required. You're going to lower your attendance, though. If anytime somebody has to register or put in their information, it might move some people away. Now, if you're looking to collect information, if you're looking to get names and emails and those type of things, then you might want to use this feature and make it required. Meeting ID, you can either choose for it to be that personal meeting ID. Again, I never give this one out. I got a few people that have access to this one. I have it just generated automatically. So each time that I schedule a meeting, it just generates a new link. Meeting password, again, you can add that. Again, you're gonna have people that get to that time when you're supposed to be meeting, they're texting you and they're like, what's the password? I'm here, I'm waiting. And, especially if it's a group of people, you might not, like I had somebody last minute, hey, what's the link? And I was already starting the webinar, so I could not get to it. So you just want to make sure that this most of the time you're probably not going to require, unless if you're sharing Pentagon secrets or something like that. You might use the meeting password. Video on, participant on. So it's taking a lot of these things that we'd set up in settings. Again, audio both. Enable the host to join before, mute participants upon entry, record the meeting automatically, and I'm going to record it again to my computer. I'm going to take that file. Once it's rendered, I'm going to load it to YouTube. I make all mine unlisted, so you can't find them unless I share the link with you. And it's a great way if you're wanting to repurpose something or share that video later with somebody. YouTube is a great resource for that, and you don't have to worry about just having the 1 gig offered by Zoom. Now the quality is going to be a little bit different. The quality is going to be better if you store it in Zoom's cloud, because it'll be native to their platform. It'll be a little bit. It won't be as clear as you might be seeing it now if it's rendered and then loaded to YouTube. So it's like the difference between an SD file and an HD file and a 4K file, right? So they're gonna render it down to the lowest file. So it's almost like SD quality. All right, alternative hosts, you're not gonna worry about that. We're not gonna dive in that today because that's specific to webinar. So I'm gonna hit save. And there it is. Now, if you scroll down, there's a couple different things you want to give out. I would give out the meeting ID, which in this case, it generated 236650715. And I'd also give out the link. Now, what do you notice about the link? The digits after the J is the meeting ID. The reason I'd give out both is because if they can't click on the link and access the meeting, they could always go to zoom.us, click on join a meeting, and put in the code, and they'll get access right there. All right, and that's it. This, though, is the link that you send out to them. And so this, once they click on this link, based on all the settings that you have, is how you're going to engage with them. And so that's the basics of getting it set up. The one thing that I talked about earlier was your calendar. So I'm going to share my calendar real quick with you. 1 second. Move myself around here. All right, so the other thing that I can do is go in and add an event. Now there's a plugin, and you can get that off the Zoom website and just search for either Chrome plugin or Outlook calendar plugin, and it'll come up in their search results, and you can download that. And once you download that, if I were to click, and let's say I wanted to put an event tomorrow at 2 p.m., you'll notice now this is the basic Gmail, Google Calendar event setup. But if you notice right here, you have make it a Zoom meeting. So if I I'm going to put in test again, and then I'm just going to click on make it a Zoom meeting. You're going to see, as far as location, it added automatically the new link. And then down in the description, it gave them all the information. It also gives them the information if they decide to dial into the call. The other cool thing about it being in your calendar is if you want to invite guests. So I can go and start inviting guests to this, and when I click on save, it's actually going to send them a calendar invite. So I'm going to invite myself here. And then when I click on save, I want to send it out? Yes, I want to send it. Yes, they're external guests. That's okay. So it goes out. Now they also get the calendar invite. If they accept it, it'll be on their calendar, and now they don't have to go search for the link. They have the link readily available for the time of your meeting. All right. Join the Zoom meeting. That's it. It's pretty simple. I'm just going to delete that out real quick. What's also nice about this is when you delete an event, it's also going to send out a notification to the guests that were on that call. So I just click on send, and now they're going to receive that as well. And now it's off my calendar. All right. Hey, I see I got Stacy on here. How are you doing? If you're on the call and you'd like to, you don't have to, but if you want to put your name and what you do out to the side, it's always great to see who's on the calls. All right. If you look down at the bottom, let's just go through some of the buttons here. So you've got, and you might not be able to see it, but you have mute, stop video, start video, the number of participants. Right now, we've got several on the call. Q&A, polls, share. Now, share is a great feature that you have, and you can actually share your screen. And you can chat, you can record, you can also stream it live, because I have webinar to these different sites. For when I'm using Zoom Pro, I can actually take over the participant's computer and assist them with whatever they might need remotely. So nice feature, especially if you have parents that are not tech savvy. Jump on them with a Zoom call, take over their computer, fix their problem, and they're happy and you're happy. You're not having to spend a lot of time on that. So those are the basic features. You can record the calls. It's often good to let people know that you're recording them. If you want to repurpose it, this will be repurposed for my coaching clients, so they'll have access to the video once this is complete. And then at the far right, you have end meeting. So you can end the meeting at any time, and so can a participant. When you end the meeting as the host, it ends the entire meeting. So if you got 50 people on the call, you hit end meeting, everybody is taken off. All right. As far as uses, so there's several different ways to use this, and especially in a time that we're in, the environment that we're in right now, where we're trying to figure out how to stay in touch with our people. I've seen virtual happy hours. I'm going to have a virtual lunch on Thursday where we're just not even going to talk about business. We're going to be just talking about life and what's happening in our families, and it's just going to be an opportunity for people to join, and we can eat lunch together in front of our computer and just talk. I saw somebody the other day use it for a family reunion. So we're used to traveling or flying somewhere to go meet up with our families, and you could use a product like Zoom to have a virtual family reunion. Now, caveat on that, you might have some in that audience that are not very tech savvy, and the person that ran it said it was a success except for that. There's a lot of people that missed out on being able to participate because they couldn't figure out how to click on the link and launch it. So those are some of the things outside that you might do. I know our kids are using it in schools. The owner of Zoom made it available and free to all the K through 12 and I believe colleges as well. So like I said yesterday and even today, my son, it's 5th grade, has a Zoom call. My daughter has a couple of Zoom calls with her middle school. I know my wife's using Zoom because she's got international calls that she's making and participating on. So it's a great tool to be able to facilitate those connections that we need in our life, and frankly, we all need. For business, I coach a lot of people in the real estate industry, having virtual open houses, inviting people to the open house, and then sharing your screen and maybe going through some of the pictures and talking about the features and what makes that property special and unique. Listing appointments for those agents, that they don't want to be traveling, yet the sellers also don't want people into their house. So doing listings virtually using things like Zoom. It's limitless. I had one agent a few weeks ago that did a buyer seminar and did it with Zoom and was able to pick up a couple clients from it. So, it's how creative can you be in this time? And this is typically one of those times, especially in the real estate industry and those that are attached to it, is how can we be creative? How can we figure out how the tools that we may have had or used in the past? I've been using Zoom for over 3 years, yet how are those tools, how can they be used differently today? How can we be creative in using that to keep our businesses going and maybe even elevate our business because we're doing something different? I just got off a phone call with my coach, and we were doing a book review on Seth Godin's Purple Cow. This is a tool that could be used, and you could be the purple cow in your industry by using this tool. It's a tool that connects people and allows them to see. I love it as a coach. Most coaches will just do phone calls. And I've chosen to use Zoom over the years because it gives me the ability to interact and see, you lose 50% of the conversation when you can't see somebody. And so I'm able to read people and see when they're hiding and all those other things that as a coach that we look for. You can't get that all in just a phone call. So again, multiple ways to use this tool. And if you're looking for something to connect with people, and it could be business related, it could be life related. I highly encourage you to use Zoom and see how it works. Start with the free product and just play with that and see if it's something that might be a benefit. Just remember that it's going to drop you in 40 minutes. Well, have a 20-minute conversation. Don't have to worry about that. So I appreciate y'all being on here today. Like I said, I was going to keep it short. I'm going to put in my contact information here. So that's my email, jeremy@redhawkcoaching.com. Or you can also call me at 281-387-7689. That's my cell number. And so if you have any questions about Zoom or maybe how to implement it in your business, I also have an affiliate link that I can share with you. So if you want to take that next step, let me know and I can assist you with that as well. And if you have any questions about coaching, that's what I do as a profession. I work with small business owners in various fields. I've got insurance agents and transaction coordinators and real estate agents and mortgage brokers. I've got an education provider that's going to be starting with me next week. And so, my job as a coach and my gift, my superpower is to help people see things that they may not be able to see. Maybe it's in their blind spot, and being able to help keep them moving forward. And so if that could benefit you or somebody that might benefit, I'd love to talk with them and reach out. As for Zoom, it's a great tool. It's been a powerful tool in my business over the years. Like I said, it's given me the capability to coach at a much higher level. It's also given me it's been the tool that I needed right now. I added training in 2020 where I'd go out and train agents, and a lot of my locations that I had set up, they all canceled. And so I had to figure out a different way to reach those individuals. And so now I'm able to go out and create webinars and take my training out to the general public. So there's all different ways you can use this. Like I said, it's been a powerful tool in my business, and I know it can be in yours. But just like with any tool, if you're not going to use it, don't buy it. I see so many people waste their money on buying something that they could see as a potential gadget or widget that's going to help them do something within their business or their personal life, and then they don't use it, and then it just becomes this recurring cost that one day you say, okay, I ought to get rid of that after I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So don't, as a coach, don't buy it if the budget's not there. Don't buy it if you're not going to use it. So I hope this is beneficial to you today. If you have any questions, like I said, just reach out, and y'all go have a great day.